Good morning, Blue Streaks. It's Wednesday, May 6th, and I want to go over with you guys your practice quiz that I assigned you on Monday. I'm going to go through each problem like we would normally do before a quiz, and then I will post your quiz today, and it will be due tomorrow, Thursday, May 7th. Some of you have been a little slow getting your stuff in. Please get that in on time, and please show all your work so I can give you some partial credit. You guys have been doing a great job so far. A few of you are dragging your feet a little bit, getting stuff in late, but please try to get those in on time. You only have about 2.5 weeks left, 3 weeks to finish the year. So let's finish strong and get started. So here's number one. I just threw all the pictures out first, but here's the information you were given. Angle A was 43 degrees, angle B was 72 degrees, and side A was 10.8. So since we have two angles, we can always use the law of sines to solve the triangle. Now remember, each of these answers, numbers 1 through 6, have 3 answers, each of these problems. Okay, some of you were in the beginning not finishing the whole or solving the whole triangle, so make sure you do that. So we're going to use our law of sines. First thing I'm going to do, though, if I know 2 angles of a triangle, I'm going to find that third angle by adding those 2 together and subtracting from 180. So how I did it, just went 180 minus 43 minus 72. So angle C will be 65 degrees. And then I want to set up my law of sines to find side B and find side C. So there's my 2 proportions. The sine of angle A, 43 degrees, over 10.8 equals the sine of 72 degrees over side B. And the sine of 43 over 10.8 equals the sine of 65 degrees, what we just found, over C. All right, so we just cross multiply and divide. 10.8 times the sine of 72 divided by the sine of 43. I forgot to put my parentheses in there, but you know when you hit sine in your calculator, it will put the parentheses. So when you cross multiply and divide, you'll get, and it's I'm rounding to the nearest whole number. That's what I asked you to do. But don't round until you get there. All right, so I'll just do this first one, the 10.8, just to show you what it looks like. Make sure you're in degree mode, right? Just hit the mode button. Make sure degree's highlighted. Mine is, so we're good to go. So 10.8 sine of 72 and divided by sine of 43. Close off your parentheses each time. So we got 15.06. So to the nearest whole number, that's 15. All right, so that's number 1. Hopefully you did that one correctly. All right, number 2, you're given angle A is 82 degrees. Side B is 7.4 and side C is 5.8. This is a side angle side situation. All right, SAS situation. And that is one of the situations we have to use the law of cosines. Okay, so the only side I can find is side A here. So I have to use the law of cosines that starts with A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times the cosine of 82. And I'll put that in there. Already done that for you. So that's what we would substitute in. Put that all in your calculator at once. You don't have to do it in parts or pieces. And you'll get that number, 76.45, etc. That's what A squared is, remember. So we have to take the square root of that answer. Second square root, second answer, which is 8.7. So that would give us 9 for side A. Okay. Now, we're only going to use, when we use this law of cosines, we only use it once, remember? And then we're going to use the law of sines to finish up. Whenever we go from the law of cosines to the law of sines, we always find the smaller of the remaining two angles. The smaller of the remaining two. Some of you are making a few mistakes because you're not doing that. That's very important. Okay, so the smaller of the two remaining angles would be angle C, because side C is shortest. So angle C would be the smallest. So I set up my sine proportion, law of sines proportion. So the sine of 82 over 9, what we just got, equals the sine of angle C over 5.8. Cross multiply and divide, and you get the sine of C equals that. Now remember, that's not the angle, that's the sine. So this is when we have to hit second sine, second answer, and we'll get that 40 degrees. So let me show you on my calculator. Okay, so we're going to go 5.8 times the sine of 82 close it up, divided by 9, and that's where that 0.638 stuff came in. Okay, now remember, you have to hit second sine, second, and answer is this negative sign here. Close it up. So there's that 39.7, and again, we're rounding to the nearest whole number, so that would be 40 degrees for angle C. All right, so hopefully you're getting that. All right, so angle C is 40. All right, so we put 40 there. Number A would equal 9. And then what we're going to do is 180 minus 82 minus 40 to find angle B, which comes out to 58. So again, we found our three answers. So we solved the triangle. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3. This time we have 3 sides. This is that side situation. This is the other way we have to use the law of cosines. So number 2, side angle side, and number 3, side. When you have those two situations, you have to use the law of cosines. So when you have the side, you find the largest angle first. So that would be angle C. Okay, so we have to do the law of cosines. It starts out so that's important. Could make mistakes there. Always find the largest angle first when you have this situation. So we're going to start with the 8 squared equals. So that's what I put in to solve for the cosine of C, or angle C. All right, so here's all the work. Okay, so 8 squared was 64, 6 squared 36, 5 squared is 25, 2 times 6 times 5 was 60. All right, so we got 36 plus 25 is where I got the 61. Now, this is where sometimes you make a mistake. I cannot subtract this 60 from this 61 because this 60 is times the cosine of C. So what I have to do first is subtract the 61 over. All right, subtract 61 over. That's where this 3 came from. Remember, this is negative 60 times the cosine of C, so I divide both sides by that negative 60, and that gives me that negative 0.05. Okay, now remember, that's not your angle. That's what the cosine of angle C is. So now is when you hit second cosine, second answer. So the inverse cosine of negative 0.05 is 92.9 degrees. So angle C, then, the largest one, would end up being 93 degrees. All right, so that's the first problem we can figure out, or the first answer we can get. Now remember, after we use law of cosines, we only use it once. We go to law of sines, find the smaller of the two remaining angles. So the shortest side's 5. It's opposite angle B. So we have to find angle B using the law of sines, which I did over here. Okay, so again, since we're looking for angle B, we cross multiply and divide, and then we have to take this inverse sign, second answer. That's 38.6. So angle B is 39. And then 180 minus 93 minus 39 will give us angle A, which would be 48. So there's my 3 answers. Again, rounding to the nearest whole number. Okay, so there's number 3. All right, number 4, we have 2 angles again. So whenever we have 2 angles, we know we're going to use the law of sines, because we can find that third angle real easy. That's what we'll do first. Whenever we know 2 angles of a triangle, we'll find that third one first. So 180 minus 37 minus 82 gives me angle C, which is 61. So there's one of my answers. Now I can find side C, side B using my law of sines. So that's what I did here. Let's get rid of the shade. Extend it for you so you can see it. All right. So again, sine of 37. Remember, it's the angle, sine of the angle over the opposite side. Sine of 61 over C, and sine of 82 over B. Cross multiply and divide. And I rounded to the nearest whole number. So we get C is 9 and B is 10. All right, so that was number 4. Hopefully you're doing well on these. The ones that I have checked so far have been pretty good. You guys are doing a good job. All right, number 5. All right, we have an angle and 2 sides, side angle. Since I have an angle and a side opposite, like that, I can use law of sines. The only thing I can figure out is angle B in this situation. So that's how I set up my law of sines. So sine of 130 degrees over side A, which is 7, equals the sine of angle B over 35. So there's all the work. Cross multiply and divide. We get 0.3830 for our sine of B. So remember, inverse sine or second sine, second answer, gives us a 22.5. So angle B would be 23, rounding it to the nearest whole number. Now that I know two angles, I'm going to go 180 minus 130 minus 23 to get angle C. So get angle C is 27 next. And then use the law of sines to find side C. And it comes out to be 4. Again, once you set up your law of sines, cross multiply and divide. Remember to make sure you're in degree mode, and you should get 4 for side C. Hopefully, again, we got that one right. Number 6 is another side problem. So I have to find largest angle first, which 17 is the biggest. So I'm going to find angle C. Side 17, angle C is the biggest. So C squared equals, so there's all my work. All right, so 289 for 17 squared, 225, and 256 for 15 and 16 squared. 2 times 15 times 16 is 480. So again, we only have, these two numbers are pretty close, but remember, I can't subtract those. I have to take the 481 over, subtracting it. That's where the negative 192 came from. And then divide by the negative 480 because I'm multiplying it by the cosine of C. That gives me a positive 0.4. Remember, this is law of cosine, so I'm doing second cosine, second answer, and that gives me angle C as 66.4 degrees, which rounded to the nearest whole number would be 66. All right, so now remember, going from the law of cosines to law of sines, we always find the smaller of the two remaining angles. The smaller one would be angle A, because 15 is the shortest side. So I set up my law of sines over here. I cross multiplied and divided. I got sine of A is 0.8061. Second sine, second answer gives me a 53.7 degrees, which is rounded to 54. And then 180 minus 66 minus 54 gives me angle B is 60. And that works out. The smallest angles opposite the shortest side. The middle angles opposite the middle side. The largest angles opposite the longest side. Okay, so we're doing things correctly. All right, number 7 is a word problem. It says a ship at sea is 52 miles from one radio transmitter and 128 miles from another radio transmitter. All right, so over here is one transmitter. And over here is the second one. The ship is right here between them. And that angle there where the ship is 142 degrees. All right. It says how far apart are the transmitters? We're looking for X. So we're not solving the whole triangle. We're just finding this side. Okay, I got side angle side situation. That means it's a law of cosines problem. All right, since I'm looking, side angle side, not side, sorry. So we're going to use law of cosines. This will be on the left side of my equal sign, x squared equals, and substitute in. And this is the one that you can put in your calculator all at once. And remember, that's what x squared equals. So then take the square root of that 29,578, and that means they're 172 miles apart. Hopefully you got that one. Most of you did from the ones, again, that I've already graded, looked at. All right, number 8 is another word problem. And it says this: an isosceles triangle has two equal angles of 48 degrees and two equal sides of 10.2 meters. Find the length of the third side. Okay, some of you didn't finish this. Some of you just found the third angle. All right, what you have to do first anyway. You have to subtract, 48 plus 48 or 96 from 180. And that gives you angle B. Okay. But that's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for the length of that third side. Okay, so make sure you answer this question. So we use law of sines. All right, sine of 48 over 10.2 equals a sine of 84 over x. Cross multiply and divide, and you get 13.7, or rounding it to the nearest whole number, 14. And I guess that would be meters. The length of that third side. Okay, so make sure you answer the question. A lot of you just left it 84. Didn't ask for the third angle. I asked for the third side. Okay, and our last problem of our quiz is this: find the area of this triangle, and we're going to use the area formula using the sine, which is this formula. Area equals 1/2 side B times side C times the sine of angle A. All right, so it's a side angle side situation, but you can just use this formula. All right, so that's all we do is substitute in. So I use 0.5 instead of 1/2 times 46 times 60 times the sine of 94, and that gives you 1,377 square units, whatever it is, square feet, square inches, square yards, it doesn't matter. But it's, remember, areas in square units. But that's the last one. Use that formula. That's a pretty easy problem. So hopefully you understood all that, and you'll do well on your quiz tomorrow or today, whenever you decide to take it. It's due tomorrow, Thursday. But please get that in on time. Please show all your work so I can give you as many points as you possibly deserve. And hopefully you won't make any careless mistakes. You guys have really done a good job keeping up. I appreciate that. Remember, this stuff is simple. You can do it, no problem. So keep up the good work. Have a good day. Remember, look good, feel good, you are good. You either get the bear or the bear gets you. Or either the hammer or the nail. Don't be the nail. Have a great day.